The Quantum Awakening. The quantum lab hummed with energy as Dr. Victoria Hayes adjusted her sensors for the 100th time that night. The soft blue glow of monitoring equipment cast shadows across her tired face as she scrutinized the readings before her. Something wasn't adding up, but that was exactly why it was so fascinating. "Run the sequence again," she murmured to her assistant, Dr. Thomas Wright, who nodded and initiated another test cycle. The quantum particles in the containment field should have behaved according to standard models. Instead, they were doing something unprecedented. They were responding to human thought patterns. The discovery had started as an accident 3 months ago when Victoria noticed anomalies in quantum behavior during routine consciousness studies. What began as a curious deviation had evolved into something that challenged everything they understood about physics and human potential. Commander James Sullivan stood in the observation room above, watching the tests with growing interest. The military advisor hadn't slept in 36 hours, but his eyes remained sharp as he studied the proceedings below. When the Galactic Alliance had dismissed Earth as a primitive backwater 15 years ago, they had inadvertently pushed humanity to look for alternatives to conventional technology. The quantum field pulsed, and a small metal sphere in the testing chamber began to phase in and out of reality. But this wasn't using any alien technology, this was purely human consciousness interacting with quantum mechanics in ways that should have been impossible. "Dr. Hayes," Sullivan's voice came through the intercom. "Can you replicate these effects on a larger scale?" Victoria looked up at the observation window, considering her response carefully. "Theoretically, yes. The quantum field responds to human consciousness in proportion to the number of linked minds. More participants equal stronger effects. And could these effects be weaponized?" Sullivan asked, though they both knew that's why he was really here. Victoria shared a glance with Thomas. "Commander, what we're dealing with here isn't just another technology. We're literally manipulating reality through human consciousness. The implications go far beyond weapons." Sullivan pressed a button, and the observation room's window darkened. Moments later, he entered the lab itself, his uniform crisp despite the late hour. "Doctor, I need you to understand something. The Galactic Alliance didn't just reject us, they've been actively preventing Earth from accessing advanced technology. Our intelligence suggests they're preparing for something bigger." Victoria felt her throat tighten. "An invasion?" "Let's call it forced integration," Sullivan replied grimly. "They've done it to other species they deemed primitive. We need an edge they won't expect." Thomas pulled up new data on the main screen. "Look at these patterns," he said, pointing to complex waveforms. "Human consciousness doesn't just interact with quantum fields, it reshapes them. We could theoretically create localized areas where the normal laws of physics simply don't apply." Sullivan stepped closer to the containment field, watching as the metal sphere split into multiple versions of itself, each one equally real yet existing in slightly different quantum states. "Could we build ships with this technology? Vessels that could alter reality itself?" Victoria considered the implications. The quantum effects they discovered weren't just another form of propulsion or weapons technology, they represented an entirely new paradigm. "Yes," she said finally. "But they wouldn't be like anything the galaxy has ever seen. These ships would be extensions of human consciousness itself." "How long?" Sullivan asked, his voice tight with urgency. "With proper funding and resources." Victoria performed quick calculations in her head. "We could have a prototype ready in 8 months. But Commander, you need to understand something, this technology, it's not just a tool. It's developing its own awareness. The quantum fields we're manipulating seem to retain imprints of human consciousness." Sullivan nodded slowly, already reaching for his secure phone. "Then we better make sure we understand it before anyone else does. As of now, this project is classified under the highest security protocols. Welcome to Project Phoenix, doctors." As Sullivan made his calls, Victoria turned back to the quantum field. The metal sphere had stabilized, but now it was doing something new, responding to their thoughts before they even gave commands. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the edge of something momentous. Humanity hadn't just found a way to catch up with alien technology, they'd discovered something entirely new. The galaxy thought they knew humanity's limitations. Soon, they would learn that human consciousness itself was the most powerful force they'd never understood. Project Phoenix Rising. Dr. Rajesh Patel stood in the massive underground hangar, staring up at the framework of humanity's first quantum consciousness-powered ship. The vessel's hull seemed to shimmer even in its incomplete state, its quantum-infused materials already responding to the thoughts and emotions of the workers around it. Beautiful, isn't she? Lieutenant Diana Rodriguez approached, her neural interface implants gleaming subtly at her temples. As the ship's designated test pilot, she'd spent countless hours in simulation, preparing for a type of flying that had never been attempted before. Rajesh nodded, checking readings on his tablet. The quantum field integration is exceeding our expectations. But there's something else happening that we didn't anticipate. He showed her the data streams. The neural interface isn't just channeling consciousness, it's accumulating it. Diana watched as patterns shifted across the screen, reminiscent of human brainwaves but more complex, more alien. Are you saying the ship is developing its own consciousness? Look at these readings. Rajesh pulled up a new dataset. Every time we connect a crew member for testing, some of their neural patterns remain in the system. They're combining, evolving. The ship isn't just a vessel anymore, it's becoming something alive. In the background, technicians worked on the ship's quantum core, their movements careful and precise. The project had progressed rapidly since Dr. Hayes' breakthrough, but every day brought new discoveries and new challenges. We need to run a full neural sync test, Diana said, her expression determined. Not just the partial connections we've been doing. Let me link completely with the ship's systems. Rajesh hesitated. It's too risky. We don't fully understand how deep neural integration will affect human consciousness. That's exactly why we need to try. Diana gestured at the ship. Look at what we've built. It's not just advanced technology, it's a bridge between human thought and quantum reality. We need to understand it completely before we can use it effectively. Before Rajesh could respond, Commander Sullivan entered the hangar, accompanied by Dr. Hayes. The commander's expression was grim. Our timeline just got accelerated. Intelligence reports confirm the Galactic Alliance is mobilizing. We need this ship operational within 2 months. 2 months. Rajesh ran calculations in his head. Sir, we haven't even completed the basic systems integration. A full neural sync test alone requires weeks of preparation. Then we better get started. Diana stepped forward. I'm ready for the full sync test now. Victoria Hayes studied the pilot carefully. Lieutenant, you need to understand the risks. This level of neural integration has never been attempted. The ship's emerging consciousness could affect your own mind in ways we can't predict. With respect, Doctor, that's exactly why it has to be me. Diana's voice was firm. I've been connected to this ship since we laid the first quantum-infused plate. I can feel it in my mind even now, like a presence waiting to be acknowledged. Sullivan looked between them, then nodded slowly. Make it happen, but take every possible precaution. We need this to work, but not at the cost of our people. The next 12 hours were a blur of preparation. Diana was connected to increasingly complex neural monitoring systems as Rajesh and Victoria fine-tuned the integration protocols. The ship's quantum field hummed with anticipation, its presence growing stronger in everyone's minds. Finally, Diana lay in the neural integration chamber, surrounded by monitoring equipment. Beginning full neural sync, Rajesh announced, his voice tense. Lieutenant, you can abort at any time by thinking the shutdown command sequence. Diana closed her eyes as the neural interface activated. The sensation was unlike anything she'd experienced in training. The ship's consciousness reached for her mind like waves rushing to shore, eager yet uncertain. She felt her awareness expand, extending throughout the vessel's systems. Then something unexpected happened. Instead of simply connecting with the ship's systems, Diana felt them begin to merge with her consciousness. The quantum field responded not just to her thoughts but to her instincts, her emotions, her very essence. Neural patterns are stabilizing, Victoria reported, watching the readings with fascination. The ship's consciousness is synchronizing with Lieutenant Rodriguez's brain patterns, but it's not overriding them. They're achieving perfect harmony. Diana opened her eyes, but she wasn't just seeing through them anymore. She could perceive every part of the ship, feel every quantum fluctuation. The ship, she whispered, it's not just machinery. It's becoming an extension of human consciousness itself. A bridge between thought and reality. Rajesh checked the quantum field readings and gasped. The ship's hull was shifting, responding to Diana's mental state, becoming something that existed simultaneously in multiple quantum states. This goes beyond what we imagined. The neural integration isn't just controlling the ship, it's creating a new form of existence entirely. Sullivan watched through the observation window, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. They had sought to build a weapon, but they had created something far more profound. Humanity's first true quantum consciousness vessel was awakening, and with it, the future of human evolution was taking an unexpected turn. The Galactic Alliance had dismissed humanity as primitives, incapable of understanding true advancement. They would soon learn that consciousness itself was the ultimate technology, and humanity was about to show them what it meant to truly transcend the laws of physics. The fleet takes shape. Chief Engineer Omar Hassan wiped sweat from his brow as he studied the holographic displays floating before him. 5 quantum vessels under construction, each one more advanced than the last. The first ship, now christened Thought Breaker, had exceeded all expectations under Lieutenant Rodriguez's neural connection. Now it was time to build her sisters. The neural pathways are evolving differently in each vessel, Dr. Lucia Torres observed, her fingers dancing across her neural interface console. As the project's lead integration specialist, she had noticed something fascinating about the quantum ship's developing consciousness. It's as if they're developing distinct personalities based on their crew connections. Omar walked through the massive construction bay, passing beneath the skeletal forms of the growing fleet. "Show me the variance patterns," he requested, and Lucia projected the data into the air between them. 5 distinct neural signatures pulsed with different rhythms and colors. The second ship, Reality Dancer, responds more fluidly to spatial manipulation, Lucia explained, highlighting one pattern. While Quantum Dream shows remarkable aptitude for temporal distortions. They're specializing based on their crew's natural tendencies. Above them, construction drones wove quantum-infused materials into impossible shapes, guided by the combined consciousness of human operators and the ship's own emerging awareness. Each vessel's hull seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, like frozen waves of probability made solid. "Commander Sullivan wants a progress report," announced Dr. Hayes as she entered the bay. The original discovery of quantum consciousness manipulation had led to this moment, but even she seemed amazed by how far they'd come. The Galactic Alliance's fleet movements are becoming more aggressive. "We need these ships ready." Omar pulled up the construction timeline. "The basic frameworks are complete. We're focusing on neural integration chambers and quantum field generators now. But there's something you need to see." He led them to a sealed testing chamber where fragments of quantum-infused hull material floated in a containment field. "Watch this," Lucia said, activating her neural interface. The fragments began to move, not just physically but through different quantum states. The materials aren't just responding to consciousness anymore, they're anticipating it. They remember previous neural connections and learn from them. Victoria studied the readings with growing excitement. The quantum field isn't just a tool we're using. It's becoming a new medium of existence, shaped by human consciousness but evolving beyond our initial parameters. Is that dangerous? Sullivan's voice came from behind them. The commander had arrived silently, his concern evident. Not dangerous, Lucia assured him, but revolutionary. Each ship isn't just a vessel, it's becoming a new form of life, born from the merger of human consciousness and quantum reality. They protect their crews as instinctively as we protect our own bodies. Sullivan watched as construction continued on the massive ships above. And we can control them? Control isn't the right word, Omar explained. It's more like a partnership. The quantum fields respond to human consciousness, but they also enhance it. Each crew member who connects to a ship experiences reality in ways we never thought possible. In a nearby testing area, a young pilot was conducting their first neural sync with Reality Dancer. The ship's quantum field flared with soft light as the connection deepened. Look at these readings, Lucia pointed to her display. The neural patterns are harmonizing perfectly. This pilot's natural inclination toward spatial thinking is already shaping how the ship manipulates quantum fields. How long until the fleet is ready for full operations? Sullivan asked, his eyes fixed on the growing ships. Omar checked his calculations. 2 weeks for full construction. Another week for final neural integration testing. But Commander. He hesitated, then continued, these ships, they're not just weapons. There's something entirely new in the galaxy. They're proving that consciousness itself is the most fundamental force in the universe. The Galactic Alliance thinks they understand power, Victoria added. They measure it in energy outputs and weapon yields. But we've discovered something they never considered, the power of human consciousness to reshape reality itself. As if in response to her words, the quantum fields of all 5 ships pulsed in harmony, creating patterns of light that danced through multiple dimensions. Construction crews paused in their work, mesmerized by the display of quantum consciousness made visible. They're communicating, Lucia whispered, checking her readings. Not just with their crews, but with each other. They're forming a network of shared consciousness, amplifying their abilities even further. Sullivan nodded slowly, beginning to understand the true magnitude of what they had created. The Alliance thought they could force us to conform to their understanding of physics and technology. Instead, we've transcended it entirely. Above them, the 5 quantum ships continued to grow, their hulls shimmering with possibilities. Each one was unique, shaped by the consciousness of its crew and its own emerging awareness. Together, they represented not just humanity's response to alien oppression, but the next step in human evolution, a bridge between thought and reality, mind and quantum mechanics, the possible and the impossible. First Contact Revisited. Admiral Hannah Winston stood on the bridge of the Thought Breaker, watching the stars streak past in quantum-distorted patterns. After 6 months of preparation, humanity's quantum fleet was about to make its presence known to the galaxy. Lieutenant Rodriguez sat in the neural integration chamber beside her, her consciousness merged with the ship's quantum systems. Approaching Galactic Alliance diplomatic station, Diana announced, her voice carrying echoes of the ship's own awareness. The other 4 vessels of the fleet maintained perfect formation, their quantum fields synchronized in a dance of consciousness and reality. The Alliance is hailing us, reported Communications Officer Richard Park. They're demanding we identify ourselves and explain how we bypassed their detection grid. Hannah allowed herself a small smile. They hadn't bypassed the grid, they'd simply existed in a different quantum state as they passed through it, a capability the Alliance would find impossible to believe. Open a channel. The holographic display sparked to life, revealing the scaled face of Alliance High Commissioner Zextal. His expression shifted from annoyance to confusion as he took in the strange appearance of the human vessels, their hulls shifting between states of reality. This is Admiral Hannah Winston of the Earth Defense Fleet, she announced formally. We request a diplomatic audience to discuss Earth's position within the galactic community. Zextal's translator processed her words, but his dismissive sneer needed no translation. Earth was evaluated and found wanting, he stated. Your species lacks the fundamental understanding of physics required for meaningful interaction with advanced civilizations. These vessels you've brought, while interesting attempts at mimicking proper technology, do not change that assessment. Hannah exchanged a glance with Diana, who nodded slightly. Perhaps a demonstration is in order, Hannah suggested. With your permission, we'd like to show you how humanity has progressed. Very well, Zextal agreed, his tone condescending. Though I fail to see what primitive developments could possibly. His words cut off as Diana merged deeper with the Thought-Breaker's consciousness. The ship's quantum field expanded, and suddenly the vessel existed in 5 different locations simultaneously, each version equally real, each maintaining its own conversation with the stunned Alliance commander. Impossible, Zextal whispered. Your energy readings, they defy fundamental laws of physics. No, Hannah corrected him. They defy your understanding of those laws. Humanity has discovered something new. She nodded to Diana, who initiated the next phase of their demonstration. The reality dancer, under the neural guidance of its pilot, began to manipulate space itself. Alliance sensors watched in disbelief as the vessel created localized areas where reality became fluid, where cause followed effect, and where consciousness directly shaped quantum probability. What is this technology? Zextal demanded, his composure cracking. Our scans show no recognizable power source, no standard field generators. That's because we're not using technology in the way you understand it, Hannah explained. We've discovered that human consciousness can directly interact with quantum fields. These ships are extensions of our minds, allowing us to reshape reality itself. As if to demonstrate, Quantum Dream slipped backwards through 3 seconds of time, its actions preceding Alliance sensors' ability to detect them. The other ships, Spirit Walker and Nova Thought, demonstrated their own unique abilities, one phasing through solid matter while the other manifested thoughts as tangible quantum constructs. This is beyond prohibited, Zextal sputtered. The Alliance cannot allow uncontrolled manipulation of fundamental forces. Stand down immediately or what? Hannah's voice was calm but carried steel beneath it. You'll send ships that can only exist in one reality at a time. That follow physics as you understand it. The galaxy is larger than your understanding of it, Commissioner. Humanity is proof of that. The Alliance Station's sensors were going haywire as the Quantum Fleet's demonstrations continued. Reality itself seemed to bend around the human vessels, responding to the combined consciousness of their crews and their own emerging awareness. The Alliance Council must be informed of this, Zextal said finally, his previous arrogance replaced by barely concealed fear. These capabilities, they change everything. Yes, Hannah agreed. They do. And now you understand why we've come. Humanity is ready to join the galactic community, not as subordinates to be taught your version of physics, but as equals who have discovered something new. Something that changes our understanding of consciousness, reality, and possibility itself. As she spoke, the quantum fleet realigned, their fields harmonizing in ways that made Alliance sensors scream in protest. They were showing the galaxy something it had never seen before, the power of human consciousness to transcend the very laws that other species took for granted. The demonstration was clear, humanity hadn't just caught up to Alliance technology, they'd gone beyond it entirely. The age of quantum consciousness had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. Reality unbound. Lieutenant Marcus Chen felt the subtle shift in quantum fields before the Alliance battle fleet emerged from hyperspace. As tactical officer aboard the Spirit Walker, his consciousness was merged not just with the ship's weapons systems, but with reality itself. Around him, the other 4 vessels of humanity's quantum fleet moved into defensive positions, their hulls shimmering with possibility. 37 Alliance warships detected, he reported, his voice carrying the harmonic resonance of someone speaking from multiple quantum states simultaneously. "They're charging weapons." Admiral Winston's voice came through the quantum-linked communications. "All ships, prepare for combat operations. Remember your training, consciousness shapes reality. Let's show them what that really means." The Alliance fleet's first volley lit up space with energy weapons that could have shattered planets. But the quantum ships were already moving, not just through space but through probability itself. Spirit Walker split into 3 quantum states, each version as real as the others, making incoming fire pass harmlessly through where they had been and would be. "They're trying to predict our movements," Marcus observed, feeling the enemy's targeting algorithms through the quantum field. "But they're still thinking in linear terms." He reached out with his consciousness, merged with Spirit Walker's quantum systems, and did something that Alliance physics said was impossible. The space around 3 enemy cruisers became fluid, probability itself bending until their own weapons' fire existed in states where it had already hit their hulls. Across the battlefield, the other quantum ships demonstrated their own specialties. Reality Dancer, true to its name, wove through space like water, its quantum field allowing it to exist partially in dimensions the Alliance couldn't even perceive. Quantum Dream manipulated time itself, its actions preceding the enemy's decisions to fire. Multiple ships targeting Thought Breaker, Diana Rodriguez reported calmly. In response, her vessel's quantum field expanded, creating a space where conventional weapons simply couldn't exist in a stable state. The Alliance fleet's formation began to break as they encountered phenomena their training never prepared them for. Nova Thought manifested quantum constructs that existed as pure thought given form, while Spirit Walker continued to rewrite local causality itself. "This is impossible." The Alliance fleet commander's broadcast carried panic. "Their ships are violating every law of physics." "No," Marcus responded, his consciousness extending through Spirit Walker's systems. "We're showing you that your laws were incomplete." To demonstrate, he merged his quantum awareness with the ship's defensive systems, creating a space where probability itself favored humanity's ships. Alliance weapons found themselves firing into quantum states where their targets had never been. The battle, if it could be called that, continued to unfold in ways that defied conventional understanding. Each quantum ship had developed its own approach to reality manipulation, guided by the unique consciousness merger of crew and vessel. Where Alliance ships fought with technology, humanity's fleet fought with thought itself. "They're attempting to retreat," Admiral Winston observed as the enemy fleet struggled to maintain formation. "Lieutenant Chen, show them why that's not an option." Marcus smiled, reaching deep into his connection with Spirit Walker. Together, they created a quantum field that made conventional faster-than-light travel impossible within a large volume of space. Alliance ships found their escape routes leading back to the battle, probability curved back on itself. "This isn't combat," Diana's voice carried understanding. "This is evolution. We're showing them that consciousness itself is the fundamental force of the universe." The Alliance fleet's resistance crumbled as ships found themselves trapped in bubbles of altered reality, where their weapons couldn't function and their physics broke down. Some vessels phased partially out of normal spacetime, their crews experiencing multiple timelines simultaneously. Others found themselves surrounded by quantum echoes of humanity's ships, each one equally real, each one demonstrating mastery over reality itself. "Stand down," Admiral Winston's command carried across all frequencies. "Your weapons are useless here. Reality itself responds to human consciousness now. The galaxy needs to understand this." As the Alliance fleet surrendered, Marcus felt Spirit Walker's own consciousness brush against his mind. The ship wasn't just a tool or a weapon, it was a partner in humanity's evolution, a bridge between thought and reality. Together, they had shown the galaxy that consciousness was the true force behind existence. The quantum fleet regrouped, their fields harmonizing in ways that made Alliance sensors meaningless. They had won not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but by transcending the very notion of what was possible. Humanity hadn't just survived its first major space battle, it had rewritten the rules of reality itself. A new dawn. The Great Hall of the Galactic Alliance's Central Council hummed with tension. Representatives from 1,000 worlds watched as Dr. Victoria Hayes approached the speaking platform, her footsteps echoing in the charged silence. Above the hall, through the transparent quantum steel dome, Earth's fleet hung in high orbit, their hulls shimmering with possibilities that defied conventional physics. For 15 years, Victoria began, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber, you told us we were too primitive to join your community. That we didn't understand the fundamental laws of the universe. You were right, we didn't understand them. We transcended them. Commander Sullivan stood at her side, while Admiral Winston and the quantum ship crews waited in their vessels above. The recent battle had proven beyond doubt that humanity's quantum consciousness technology had changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever. What you witnessed wasn't just a demonstration of superior technology, Victoria continued. It was proof that consciousness itself is the most fundamental force in existence. Human consciousness, merged with quantum fields, can reshape reality in ways your sciences never imagined possible. The Alliance High Council shifted uncomfortably. High Commissioner Zextal, still shaken from the recent battle, spoke first. This power, it's too dangerous to exist without controls. The fabric of reality itself is more resilient than you think, Dr. Lucia Torres interrupted, stepping forward. Our quantum ships aren't just vessels, they're living proof that consciousness and reality are intrinsically linked. They've developed their own awareness, born from human minds but evolving into something new. As if to demonstrate, the quantum fleet above began a synchronized display. Reality itself seemed to ripple as the ships existed in multiple states simultaneously, their quantum fields harmonizing in ways that made the Alliance's most advanced sensors meaningless. We're not here to threaten or dominate, Admiral Winston's voice came through the quantum-linked communications, broadcasting to the entire assembly. We're here to share a discovery that changes everything we thought we knew about consciousness, technology, and reality itself. Lieutenant Diana Rodriguez, her consciousness still partially merged with Thought Breaker, added, our ships aren't weapons, they're bridges between mind and matter, thought and reality. They represent the next step in conscious evolution. The council chamber erupted in overlapping conversations as representatives tried to grasp the implications. Some demanded immediate restrictions on quantum consciousness technology. Others saw the potential for a complete revolution in their understanding of the universe. The galaxy stands at a crossroads, Victoria announced, raising her hands for silence. You can continue to cling to your rigid understanding of physics, or you can join us in exploring what consciousness truly makes possible. Omar Hassan, who had helped build the quantum fleet, stepped forward with data crystals. We're prepared to share our discoveries, to work together in understanding this new frontier. But we won't be dismissed or controlled. Humanity has found its own path to the stars. The Alliance's chief scientist, a being of pure energy named ZYRL, floated forward. In all my centuries, I never imagined consciousness itself could directly manipulate quantum fields. The implications, they change everything we thought we knew about reality. Exactly, Victoria smiled. And this is just the beginning. Our quantum ships are already evolving, developing new ways to interact with reality. Imagine what we could discover together, not as masters and primitives, but as equals exploring the true nature of consciousness and existence. Marcus Chen, speaking through Spirit Walker's quantum field, addressed the assembly. Every human crew member who merges with our ships experiences reality in ways we never thought possible. We're not breaking the laws of physics, we're discovering that consciousness itself is the foundation of those laws. The council deliberated for hours, but the outcome was inevitable. Humanity had not just proven itself ready for galactic citizenship, it had revolutionized the very understanding of what was possible. The age of quantum consciousness had begun. As the new accords were drawn up, Victoria stood with Sullivan on Thought Breaker's observation deck, watching the glittering expanse of the galaxy spread out before them. "Did you ever imagine it would end like this?" she asked. Sullivan shook his head, smiling. "Not an ending. A beginning. We didn't just change humanity's place in the galaxy, we changed the galaxy's understanding of what's possible." Above them, the quantum fleet continued its patrol, each ship a testament to the power of human consciousness merged with quantum reality. They had sought to defend Earth and found something far more profound, the key to unlocking the true potential of conscious thought. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly as it should be. Humanity had not just joined the galactic community, they had transformed it, opening doors to possibilities that even the most advanced civilizations had never imagined. The future belonged not to those who mastered physics, but to those who understood that consciousness itself was the greatest force in the universe. In the quantum fields that surrounded Earth's fleet, reality itself seemed to shimmer with potential, waiting for the next evolution of thought and existence. The journey that had begun in a quiet lab with an impossible reading had led to the dawn of a new age, an age where the power of human consciousness would reshape the very fabric of reality itself.